This is part 41 of Angular 2 tutorial. In this video, we'll discuss how to cancel an observable using the unsubscribe method. This is continuation to part 40, so please watch part 40 before proceeding. Here is what we want to do. On the page, when there is a request in progress, we want to display this cancel request button. We want this button to be visible only if there is an outstanding request. If the request has failed permanently because it has exhausted all the retry attempts, then this cancel request button should automatically disappear. Along the same lines, if the request completes successfully, again the cancel request button should disappear. If we click the cancel request button, the request should be cancelled and we want to display this message to the user, request cancelled, and again the cancel request button should disappear. So the first step is to include the required HTML for cancel request button. So within Visual Studio, we are on our employee component view template. I'm going to make a copy of this back to employee list button and then change the bits that are required. We're going to change the value of this button to cancel request. And then we want to bind to the click event of the button, and the method that we want to call is on cancel button click. We don't have this method yet. We'll create that in just a bit. Now let's look at the changes required within our component class. We're using the subscribe method to subscribe to the observable that this getEmployeeByCode method returns. Now let's go to the definition on the subscribe method and look at its return type. Notice it is returning an object of type subscription. So if we go to the definition on this one, this class implements iSubscription interface. Let's go to the definition on this one and notice this interface has got unsubscribe method which we can use to unsubscribe from the observable, and then we have this boolean property closed which we can use to check if we have an open subscription. We're going to use both of these. So the first thing that I'm going to do is within our employee component class, I'm going to import this iSubscription type from RxJS. So let's include the required import statement for that. And then within our component class, I'm going to create a property of type iSubscription. Let's call the property subscription, and the type of this is going to be iSubscription. So we are going to use this property to hold on to the subscription to the observable. So we know this subscribe method returns a type that implements iSubscription interface, and we are going to use this subscription property which we have just created to hold on to that subscription. Now when we click this cancel request button, what do we want to do? We want to unsubscribe. So we are going to use the unsubscribe method of the subscription object to unsubscribe from the observable. Now this is a property of the class, so we have to use this keyword. So this.subscription equals whatever the subscribe method returns. And within our view template, we have the name of the button, which is on cancel button click. So let's go ahead and write the event handler for that. This method is not going to return anything, so the return type is going to be void. And then when we click the button, what should happen? First, we want to set the status message property of the component class to request cancelled. And then we want to unsubscribe from the observable. So we can use the subscription property which we have created. So this dot subscription, and we know this has got this method unsubscribe. So let's unsubscribe from the observable. With all these changes in place, let's run our application by pressing Ctrl F5 and navigate to /employees/emp103. Let's also launch developer tools. And notice at the moment we have a request in progress, and within the console we can see every 1 second we are retrying. Now let's click the cancel request button. Notice the request is cancelled, and within the console we can see the retry attempts have been stopped. Now, we don't want this cancel request button to be always visible. We want this to be visible only if we have an outstanding request, that is, when a request is in progress. At the moment, this cancel request button is always visible. So to automatically show and hide this cancel request button within the view template on this div element, which is the container for our cancel request button, I'm going to use ngIf structural directive, and I'm going to bind this to the subscription property we have within our component class. And we know this subscription property is holding on to the subscription object returned by this subscribe method. And we know the subscription object has got closed property, which will tell us whether we have an open subscription or not. So this button will be displayed only when there is an open subscription, that is, when there is an active request in progress. If there is no request in progress, then it's automatically going to remove this div element, which in turn is going to remove the cancel button. So let's save these changes and then reload our web page one more time. Notice while the request is in progress, we see the cancel request button, and when I click cancel request button, the button disappears and we see request cancel. Now let's reload this one more time, and then we will let it exhaust all the retry attempts, and then we will see if this cancel request button will disappear automatically. So at the moment we are on attempt 2, attempt 3, attempt 4, and then when it permanently fails after attempt 5, the cancel request button should be hidden automatically. Finally, let's quickly test our last use case. When the request completes successfully, even at that point, we should hide cancel request button. So let's reload this page. Now the request to the server will be in progress. Let's start our web API service in the meantime. So right click on the web API project and view it in the browser. So now the web API service is starting, and at the moment we are retrying the second time. When the web API starts and when the data becomes available, the request completes, and notice cancel request button is automatically hidden. So to unsubscribe from the observable, all we have to do is use the unsubscribe method. Here is the HTML and the component class code. Thank you for listening and have a great day.